Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review. Brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Big weekend for college baseball. We'll start with the positive. 3 Louisiana schools playing in the NCAA Division I baseball tournament. 2 in Baton Rouge, 1 in Lafayette. 2 of those are national seeds. So, Lenny, for South Louisiana, it's a bonanza for Division I baseball.
Yeah, the road to Omaha truly runs right across I-10 and Lafayette and Baton Rouge. If you're a college baseball fan in these parts, I mean, you're going to get a chance to see, the LSU Tigers, the UL Lafayette Raging Cajuns play at home, and if they keep winning all the way through until they get to the College World Series, they will be at home. They do not have to travel.
When you look at both teams, Louisiana Lafayette winning their conference tournament, the Sun Belt tournament, made it a one-bid league, and I think they were kind of penalized for that, Lenny. Here they are with the best record in the country. Here they are as the number 1 team in every poll, and they got only the 6th overall seed.
Yeah, it seemed to me that they really relied heavily on the RPIs to do these things. Maybe moved a little bit. Oregon State is the overall number 1 seed. You can't make too much of an argument with that, although they didn't really finish strong. They went 1-3 in the last week of the season. Florida number 2, then, Virginia, Indiana, Florida State, UL Lafayette. I think those were pretty much a consensus in terms of 6 of the national seeds, even going into this week. LSU, with their run through the SEC tournament, undefeated, including a championship game win over Florida with New Orleans boy Sean McMullen as the hero with the 2-run homer in that game, a terrific baseball game. That elevated LSU into the national seed discussion. It's funny, we were sitting here 2 weeks ago, and LSU was worried if they were even going to host. And then they proceeded to go 8-0 over the course of the last 2 weeks, and here they are a national seed. And the box will be rocking for this weekend for sure and possibly next.
It was some performance by New Orleans area players for LSU against Florida. Nate Fury, 2 spotless shutout innings. Kurt McCune, the save was terrific. And, of course, as you mentioned, Sean McMullen. It's hard to fathom anybody playing better baseball than LSU is right now.
Yeah, but you know what? The boys in Lafayette aren't doing too bad either. They've got the nation's longest winning streak at 10 games heading into the postseason. A great run through the regular season in the Sun Belt, and then an undefeated run through the Sun Belt Conference tournament in Mobile. And what's interesting is outside of Mobile, pretty much everything that the Raging Cajuns have accomplished this year has been in the state of Louisiana, and they will get a chance to continue doing that this weekend and possibly next on a possible run to Omaha.
Tough seat to get coming up at Moore Field this weekend. Of course, the Southeastern Louisiana Lions, Matt Reiser's done a great job. JRT's got it to a certain level. They were always close, but here they are. They're in the tournament. They won the Southland Conference tournament, and they're going to Baton Rouge to face LSU, who beat them 7-3 at Alumni Field back in April.
February, actually. It was that long ago because the guys who were playing
February 19th.
Yeah, the guys who were in that game, who were the key players in that game, are not key players at all for LSU anymore. That's the thing. And let me tell you, the young man from Pearl River, Couture, who will pitch the opening game for Southeastern, don't sleep on these guys. You think 1 against 4, and granted, LSU can be intimidating. Southeastern's not going to be intimidated. They've played there quite a few times. They get it. And I think they're going to come in and play loose, and that could be a heck of an opening game Friday afternoon at the box.
We'll have full coverage on both of those regionals at SportsNOLA.com. As for Delgado, their trip to Grand Junction, Colorado was a brief one. They went 2 in barbecue, but it does not diminish what was an outstanding season to make it to the final 10 teams in the country. They just got a tough draw. They played the top team in Game 1, and they had the lead late, but simply could not hold it.
Yeah, and they battled back all evening long in that first game against Chattahoochee Valley. Down 3-0, came back, tied it. Down 4-3, came back, tied it. Finally got the lead in the top of the 8th inning. You felt like, okay, here's the breakthrough. And then Chattahoochee comes back and gets 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. And those kind of games are tough to come back from, and that's exactly what happened on Sunday. Although Brooks Vial was pitching well, and all of a sudden an hour and 13-minute rain delay. Joe Sherman does the prudent thing. He takes Vial out of the game instead of running him back out there after a rain delay. And the bullpen just could not hold the rope, so to speak. And Delgado on their way home now, unfortunately. But you're right, it does not diminish what was a terrific season for the Dolphins. Really 2 great years in a row here. They finished the regular season a year ago, number 1 in the nation. This year they finished number 2 in the nation. That is clearly a program on the rise.
The Zephyrs are playing much better baseball. Another extremely well-pitched game yesterday. They're now within 3 of 500. They're only 2.5 out of first in their division, and they've got their top prospect in Haney pitching at Round Rock tonight. So they've put themselves right back in the mix, and they've done it primarily with really good pitching.
Well, you'll get that especially at home. They're just coming off an 8-game homestand, and it's clearly one of the best pitchers' ballparks in all of minor league baseball. So that's where you've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And their starting pitching is solid. It's even better with the call-up of Haney, as you mentioned. And, who knows how long he's going to be here. Get a chance, if he's back in when the Zephyrs come back in town next week, get out and see that young man pitch, because he is outstanding, was outstanding in his opening start, although he didn't figure in the decision. A rare opportunity to see a really highly touted prospect for the home team's organization coming through Zephyr Field.
Well, the Voodoo, it's a broken record. We can just use the same thing every week, just about. They're halfway through the season, third worst record in the league because they can't take care of the football. 5 more turnovers, 36 on the year, and loss after they led by 20 points at home over Iowa. And Pat O'Hara, their head coach, summed it up perfectly, which you can, of course, reference at SportsNOLA.com.
Yeah, so it was pretty strong. It was kind of Jim Mora-esque, the whole. You remember we've seen those, the playoffs and the coulda, woulda, shoulda, and the I don't want to say outburst, but clearly, showing his emotion and frustration after things, a lot like what we used to see out of Coach Moore in his days with the Saints. So, hey, you got to keep sawing wood, to borrow another former Saints executive, Jim Finks' line, and you go back out there and give it another shot this week.
Last but not least, NBA playoffs. We keep talking about the inevitable. Is there anything that we need to say otherwise? Miami's going to advance. San Antonio, I think, is going to advance regardless of what Ibaka did in Game 3. And Lance Stevenson needs to learn to shut up.
I think you hit the first part and the last part pretty well, but do not sell out Oklahoma City just yet. I mean, you know what the old saying
I got
goes
it,
in the
but
NBA?
I will.
The old saying in the NBA that the series doesn't start until somebody wins on the road. Well, that hasn't happened yet. So Oklahoma City gets a win on Tuesday night. This thing becomes a best of 3. And, if Ibaka plays anywhere close to the way he played on Sunday night, which was obviously a great lift for that team, it's a brand new series again. They just got to find a way to get one in San Antonio and then get close to doing that in the first 2 games down there.
And saving the obvious for last, the Saints beginning off-season training activities. We'll have full coverage of the 3 opportunities we have to be there from a media perspective. But here's a chance to get the full squad together, take a look at what you've got, survey, and start looking at the newbies compared to the proven commodities.
And it's still in shorts. So it's how much will you see? You'll see guys running around out there together. You see the full team in unison. But at the end of the day, wait till these guys start hitting at the end of July, which we'll have to watch from a distance in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yes. So you'll see something. It's good that, you're able to do these things as part of, the collective bargaining agreement. But at the end of the day, what really matters is what happens starting at the end of July.
Well done. That's our First NBC Bank weekend review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Lenny, have a great week.
We'll see you later this week.
For Lenny, I'm Kenny. You have a great week as well. God bless you.